to avert a sacrifice.
You're here, dear madam, I think, to be a memory for all of my future.
If I can retain you, standing by that hearth, you'll be one for mine. Why do you make such a fuss about changing your politics? Parties and programs come and go, but a duty like this abides. This is a temple. Don't profane it. Keep up the old altar kindly. You can't set up a new one as good. You must have beauty in your life, don't you see? That's the only sure way of keeping it in the lives of others. Keep leaving it to the others, to all the poor others. Heaven only knows what would become of it. Does it take an American to make you see that? Then it's a good job we came over to see what you're up to.
You know, you've a style which the Commons hasn't fitted me to deal with. You know, when you talk of this house, it's as though your voice comes to me like the south wind in its chimneys.
I hope you don't mean I roar.
The wind doesn't roar here. It whispers, it sighs.
I hope it sometimes laughs.
Whatever it does, it's all right.
Oh. Then you promise.
Promise what?
To meet Mr. Prodmore.
Oh, not yet. I must think.
When have you to answer him?
Oh, he gives me time.
I wouldn't give you time. I'd give you a shaking. For God's sake, at least go and see him.
Do you mean literally seek the dreadful man out?
May I confide in you?
You too? It is a good job we came over.
It is indeed. What I want to tell you is that when I finally got here from the station, I was met with the most tremendous news. He wants me to marry him.
Oh, that's good. Who?
Papa settled it.
Settled what?
The whole question that I must take him.
But, my dear, take whom?
Why, Captain Yule, of course.
Oh. Oh?
I thought you would know.
No. No, I didn't know. Has Captain Yule asked you?
Nobody will. To keep the house. That's Papa's price. To marry me and change his politics. But of course it'll only happen if he loves the house enough. And if he's willing to change. Does he? Will he?
Yes. I think he does. Yes. I believe he will. Now.
Oh, I...
Have you seen Mrs. Gracedieu about at all?
She went out into the garden. She said she wanted to think. I want to talk to her some more, but when I went out there, she wasn't there.
Oh, there you are. How did you arrive there?
There are more ways into this house, I believe, than even dear old Chivers knows about.
I've no doubt you're waiting to learn if I've closed with Mr. Prodmore.
I thought he gave you time.
Yes, but you produced just now so deep an effect on me, I thought it best not to take any.
Oh.
I felt the tremendous effect of all that you said to me. You're perhaps not aware that you wield an influence that is practically irresistible. I have rarely been exposed to such a fire.
When I burn, well, I do it as Chicago does, down to the ground. I suppose you've still the formalities to go through?
None.
You've concluded totally, then?
I've turned him down.
What?
I dare not reflect further. Your magnetism is frightening. I had to follow my conscience instantly if I was not to surrender to your siren song.
You've just given me the most flattering proof of my persuasive powers I've ever had in my life.
I've no doubt that you're disgusted with me, and I am sorry, but you see, I see something else in the world other than the beauty of old show houses and the glory of old show families. There are thousands of people in England who can show no houses at all, and I'm more concerned with them. Were I to turn my coat and abandon them, I could live in the greatest palace in the world and still hate myself. No! I'll listen to no more of your enchantments. Things done. I stand by it.
What was he telling you? Has he concluded with my father?
Not exactly.
He wants to look me over more thoroughly, perhaps, as he did the house.
I think not. Cora, my dear, would you mind very much if he turned your father down?
Mind? He'd make me the happiest girl alive.
What? But I thought you said...
I said I'd been ordered him. Like a dose of mitts.
Oh, excuse me, I misunderstood. I somehow took it for granted that you'd...
You took it for granted that I'd jump at him. Well, I don't. And I shan't. I don't care what Father says.
My dear, you won't have to. He's turned your father down.
You mean I won't have to marry him?
I must say, I would not have thought Captain Yule was such a terrible fate for a girl.
I agree with you. He seems a gentleman full of grace. It's just that there's...
There's someone else.
I've been trying in my terrible need of advice, to tell you about him. After we parted, you and I at the station, he suddenly turned up there. This someone else. And I took a quiet little walk with him, which is why you got here before me, and of which my father is in a state of ignorance that I don't know whether to regard as desirable or dreadful.
You want me then to inform your father?
I really don't know what I want. I think I just want kindness and help. You see, I love him.
And does he love you?
Oh, yes, he's waiting for me now in that funny old grotto in the park.
Does your father know about it?
My father has met him, yes. But we've been so sure that Papa would hate any liaison between us that we've had to be so awfully careful.
Why? What's wrong with him?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with him. He's the son of the richest man in Belborough. He'll inherit his father's business, which is simply immense. And from the point of view of things he's in, he's quite as good as Papa himself.
Well, then why would your father object?
His name and his politics.
What's his name?
It's hyphenated. The first part is Hat with a double T.
Well?
The second part is Peg with a double G.
Mrs. Hat Peg. Yes. And his politics?
Radical.
Oh, dearie me. Is the whole of England turning anarchist or what? I will help you.
Oh, you heavenly
Go to Mr. Hat Peg. If all goes well, we shall meet at the station. Go.
Where's my daughter? I thought I heard her.
Your daughter is not here, but it is a convenience to me, Mr. Prodmore, that you are. I've something very particular to ask you.
I'll be happy to answer your question, but I must first put my hand on Miss Prodmore. Unless she's occupied out there with Captain Yule, she may be brighter than I think. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
I don't think she's occupied with cats or Captain Yule anywhere.
Well, where the deuce is she? I wish to instruct her.
She is not open to instruction. At this moment, her mind is too preoccupied with young Mr. Peg.
With whom?
I mean, young Mr. Peg of Belborough, Mr. Hat Peg, the associate of his father in their flourishing firm, to whom Miss Prodmore is devotedly attached.
Hat Peg. Attached to Hat Peg. It's gone as far as that?
It has gone so far, you might as well let it go the rest of the way.
How monstrous to have plotted to keep me in the dark.
It's your fault for making your daughter afraid of you. She's an honest girl and she's not a baby. She's a perfect right to her preference.
Have I no right to mine?
Not at her expense.
I see your hand in this. You turned Yule against me, and now my daughter.
On the contrary, I threw everything into the battle on your side. I'm so glad we lost.
We? I'm the only one who's lost. I've lost Captain Yule. I've lost Gossage. I'm threatened with a radical for a son-in-law, and I'm landed with this mausoleum.
I thought you adored it.
Adored it, I? Madam, I live in a modern house, built these 5 years to my own specification. I wouldn't be paid to live in one of these old rat traps.
Then you'd be quite relieved to have it taken off your hands.
Ah, well, now, that would depend. In what way would you mean, dear lady?
I know, sir, of only one way. If you will name your figure, I will buy you out.
Oh, but I'm not sure that I wish to sell.
Why, you just said...
I said I wouldn't live in it. That's not the same as saying I don't know its value. I know a lot of people who would live in it and pay through the nose to do so.
That is insubstantial conjecture. I am here as flesh and blood to make you an offer. I will refund you whatever you are in for in return for your interest in the house.
The value of the house is far greater than that.
But surely the value of the house is what you paid for.
On the contrary, dear lady, it is what you are willing to pay for it.
I will pay what you paid, plus a small profit for you.
Yeah, I'm afraid not. You see, you put your own excellent valuation on this house not a great deal of time ago. You were very eloquent, I recall.
I was play acting, pretending to be a guy.
Or you were more like an auctioneer, taking bids. Oh, you ran it up high.
I said it was charming, certainly.
Charming? You said it was magnificent. You said it was unique. You talked of fancy values. The perfect specimen of its class in England, you called it. Oh, you got in deep.
Possibly. But taunting me with my absurd high spirits doesn't in the least tell me how deep you are in.
For you, Mrs. Gracestew, I am in to the tune of 50,000.
That is a great deal of money.
Yes, isn't it?
If it's a larger one for you, it's even a larger one for me. We women have more modest ideas.
Modest? Is that what you call your intrusion into my affairs?
I mean, we measure things often more exactly.
You measured this thing exactly about half an hour ago. You said you'd offer 50.
I was trying to please you.
Have you seen Miss Prodmore? If you haven't, find her.
You won't find her, Chivers. She's gone for a walk.
Alone?
No, with Mr. Pegg.
Peg has been here.
He walked her from the station.
So that's why she was late. Which direction did they take?
I think I must let you find that out for yourself.
Get my carriage. I was right. You aided and abetted this wicked, low intrigue.
Believe me, I did not. But I did promise Cora I'd speak up for her. I can't see her made miserable by losing the chance of her life.
You can't see her.
Do drive after them if you must. But do so only to forgive them. If you do that, I'll pay your price.
What is your idea of my price?
Why, the sum you just mentioned. 50,000.
That's not my price. And it never for one moment was. Besides, my price is up.
Up?
70,000.
Oh, dearie me.
Take it or leave it.
70,000 then.
Done.
I've been waiting for him to go. I wanted to apologize. I must have seemed very ungracious just now, but and I know you're right about the house and my duties to it, and I do care about it, really. It's just that for me, the conditions laid down were impossible.
The conditions no longer exist.
You mean Prodmore relents? He'll deal with me like a decent human being?
You do not deal with Mr. Prodmore. I've taken it over.
You? Taken over the house?
Yes.
Well, I do know that you love it, sir.
Yes.
Well, I don't mind losing it to you.
Oh, but you don't lose it. You arrange with me to keep it.
How'd I do that?
We must wait. We must think. We must find a way.
Well, in what way is there to find it? With Prodmore, it was simple. All I had to do was to sell my soul, as it were.
I shall require no spiritual sacrifice. All I want you to do is to live in the house as you are meant to.
How can I, now that it's yours?
I move over for you.
You surrender your rights?
Weren't you ready to surrender yours?
I hadn't any. I hadn't paid for them.
Your ancestors had. It's the same thing. You'll be, in a manner, my tenant.
On what terms?
On any terms, the easiest. You can write to me about them to Missouri Top, and I really must go if I'm to catch my train.
But how did you do it? How did you manage Prodmore?
Never you mind.
The only way that he would conceive of this surrender would be if you bought him out. That's what you did. You bought him out.
What if I did?
For how much? I must know.
That you shall never know.
I'll get it from him, then.
I think not.
You mean he won't tell me because he did you? The scoundrel.
The important thing is that now you can get on with your life's work, your precious social revolution, without having to give up your home to do it.
Can I? I'm not so sure.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean to say, how can I lead a socialist revolution from a country seat like this?
Rubbish. I never knew a prominent socialist yet who couldn't find the money for a country cottage, and they get very large, those country cottages. They like to associate themselves in the public's mind with England's traditions and England's countryside. The two things, oddly, they're usually most active in trying to destroy.
You are the most dreadful Tory. The most beautiful, mind you, that I've ever seen.
I know a great deal more about the common touch than you ever will.
Indeed.
If you're really serious about leading the have-nots, first of all, get rid of that honorable.
I see. And what about the title that I'll be coming into in due course? What do I do about that?
You renounce it.
There's no machinery for that.
You're a legislator, make the machinery.
What about my name? Clement, Marmaduke, Clarence, Fitzroy, D'Arblay, you.
You shorten the whole thing to Clem Yule. And you drop the captain also. You hold house parties here, where you invite the snobs of the radical movement, and don't tell me there aren't any, for policy-making seminars. You all rough it here together in the name of the revolution.